Who is the best GM in the NFC? Is it Les Snead or Howie Roseman? Gilbert, I'll give this one to you.
Man, this is a tough question. Let's see. Okay, so Roseman has 2 Super Bowls though, so maybe that'll be the edge there, and Leslie has 1. But I will go with Howie. I'm interested to hear Vic's comments because he's been a little harsh on Howie, but he's made up for it. I just like that he's always battling defensive front players, offensive line players, like the way he prepared for life after Jason Kelsey, Cam Jurgens. Okay, you have to wait a couple of years, but boom, here you go. Landon Dickerson, going for the rugby player, Jordan Mailata, and then just drafting a bunch of Georgia guys, but they play on the edge, on the interior defensive line. And he takes chances too on some players that have questionable decisions, like Jalen Carter fell in their lap.
He has a chauffeur. We fixed it.
Jalen Carter, he got an Uber gift card, and you're ready to go now.
Yeah.
And he's balling out. Jalen Carter is a really good player. Nolan Smith Jr., who I had question marks going into the year. I put it this way, their backup plans for this year to replace Josh Sweat. I can't even say it. Sweat and Milton Williams. I kind of feel iffy about it, but I'm like, it's freaking Howie Roseman. He's gonna find a way to replace these guys. So I'm gonna go off of that just because of 2 Super Bowls. But Les Snead is harder to also not give him credit because he's gone from the Jared Goff era to the Matthew Stafford era to Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams era. He knows how to reinvent his roster too as well.
I agree with everything that you said. Obviously, he knows offensive line, defensive line. That's why I would go Howie Roseman. I think it's interesting that Les Snead has taken the other approach where he said F them picks. He traded a lot, got players slowly but surely, went all in. They won the Super Bowl. The team was decimated. Hilberto went in there. They ended up losing, and then
thank God
they recovered.
But then they quickly rebounded, and now they're back to looking like a playoff team where it looks like they just need secondary players and offensive linemen, and they should be in a good spot. But just because of the 2 Super Bowls, I would go with Howie Roseman, and honestly, he should have had a third. But I definitely think that the way Howie Roseman had like last season, they get eliminated by Tampa Bay, and everybody's like, you know what? Maybe this is done. Like, they're done. They may not look like they can rebound. He goes, retools, does a bunch of stuff, brings it back, and then they go on a hot run towards the end of the season, get into the playoffs. They get really hot, and they blow out two of everybody's favorite teams when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington Commanders. Yeah. They blow both of them out. So it's really impressive.
They blew out the Commanders? What are you talking about? They didn't blow out the Commanders. They wouldn't do that.
The Commanders beat the Lions on the road the week before.
Well, they wouldn't blow out the Commanders because Jaden Daniels is that guy.
But I definitely. But and then on top of that, everybody knew, even the Giants knew in Hard Knocks, that Saquon was going to go there, and that's what he did. He went, he shot for the moon, he got Saquon, added a different dimension. That's what they were missing the first time around, that Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
Good point.
They were missing a weapon like Saquon to really challenge.
Yeah, because you saw how hard they would sell out anytime.
Yeah, and that's what left the whole rest of the field open.
Yeah,
is that they were bringing 7 guys into the box trying to stop them 8, and they just couldn't do it. Vic, why don't you go next?
I thought about this question because I was listening to The Ringer, and they kind of got into a little bit of a debate between this one. And I thought it was a really good thing because it just depends on what it is that you want out of your GM in terms of how you want to break this down, right? Like with Howie Roseman, like the last 2 seasons in terms of his draft picks have been really good, right? But then you look at the 4 years beforehand, and I'm gonna give you 2 names, and it's right away it's gonna pop, and you're gonna be like, "Yep, they chose Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton, and they chose Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson," right? And now you think about those 2 draft picks too, like I said, and you brought up the Super Bowl, right? Now those were with Chip Kelly players; they weren't with his. Remember, Chip Kelly took control of the Eagles. And then they brought back Howie Roseman. So how much credit do we give him for that first Super Bowl, and how much goes to it with Chip Kelly's players? So there's also that. And then, like I said, it just depends on what you like from your GM. You look at Les Snead, right? He traded all his draft picks for first round picks. He had to go and look for draft picks in the middle of those rounds, and he was able to hit on some of them. Now, having all those draft picks in the middle rounds allows you to kind of have more shots at getting it right, and they've been able to. Like, if you look at the Puka Nacua draft pick, they drafted back and got more, and were able to draft Puka Nacua. You look at Kobe Turner. You look at a lot of those guys that they've been able to get. Now, he only has one Super Bowl. They've also been Les Snead has been kind of terrible in terms of his free agent signing. So it just depends on what it is that you want. Like, it's a hard one for me, just because I understand where Howie Roseman and what he's done the last 2 seasons has been really good, but I also can't deny that the 4 years beforehand, like, he wasn't good. Like, Les Snead was able to trade for Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, and then you look at Howie Roseman. He got that AJ Brown trade when he almost traded for another. I forget who the receiver was. I think it was, or they almost signed the guy that went to the Rams from the Bears. I forget his name.
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. So had he not done that, then he wouldn't have made the trade for AJ Brown. So a lot of this has to do with luck. But if you ask me right now who the better GM is Howie Roseman, just because of him winning the Super Bowl more recently. And so, but it just depends. Do you want a guy who can hit in the middle of the rounds, or someone who drafts the consensus guy at that time and they're able to produce? But like I said, both of them have kind of missed too. Like I said, with Howie Roseman picking Jordan Davis instead of Kyle Hamilton, and then Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. So
that's big facts.
Yeah.
Hey, but I feel like Howie was also the one who wanted, Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. I know Chip Kelly was there for a little bit, and the Eagles quickly realized they messed up and brought him back to be the GM. And that's also weird. People forget that he was kind of told go away for a little bit, and then he stood on the team and he came back and he reinvented himself. But I'm sure those Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham type of picks were his too.
Dan, do you care about this topic, or do you want me
the other thing I was going to say real quick is I just, like, besides the Super Bowls, obviously, because that's what it's all about, no matter what people say, and those people are losers, I just think he's had more sustained success. Like, you didn't have, like, he's been able to keep the team competitive without trading away the future and mortgaging the future like Les Snead did, which I think that takes a lot of credit. You look now, and that team probably is still loaded to go make another run. And I think also he prioritizes the right things. I don't think he really panics a lot and signs people. And the other thing, getting special teamers and making them all pros. So I think that takes a lot of talent. It's not easy, clearly. So I do like the job he's done out there, obviously. So yeah, I think he's really good.
I was gonna add one more thing, and I thought, like, I know everybody keeps talking about with Howie in terms of, like, hey, you're gonna have to go and draft or pay for defensive linemen and offensive linemen. The other thing I keep saying that I've been really impressed with is the fact that they go and they pay guys early. Like, they don't wait like the Cowboys and the Bengals. They've been able to go and pay, like, whether it's been, also the Jalen Hurts, drafting him in the second round when you already had an MVP caliber quarterback at the time. That's what we thought of the quarterback. But now you have that, and so that's the other reason why I picked Howie Roseman right now over Les Snead. But it's a good topic. I just thought, like, hey, this is, like, it's kind of they're kind of evened out. But like you said, like the Super Bowls and then some of the moves that Howie Roseman has been able to make, puts him right a little bit over the top for me.